I remember one of the things that we get asked all the time is why do we start Neogen homes? It's always a question that people ask. There's so many builders out there. Why are we starting Neogen homes?
I guess for me personally, because I worked under a couple of builders, and what I realized is there's specific things that they do that I felt I could do better or implement into my own business. And just working under them, they have their own set of rules. And I feel like if I could find like-minded people, such as you two, we could do the same thing they're doing, as they're big builders, they do like 300, 400 homes. So we could do that ourselves with good quality and find our own clients. So that was sort of the mindset that I had starting.
And I also just think like,
company.
when I look at a lot of this building industry, it's so dated. Like it's just the same type of builders
Yeah, exactly.
doing the same type of thing. And I think there's just the whole community has just built a massive mistrust in this building industry. There's just so much negativity around it all.
For sure. And there's a lot of builders that completely afraid of pricing things that are like beyond the property boundary, or don't want to touch duplexes, or don't want to do subdivisions, and it's just turned into like a big sausage factory, really. And like for me, starting Neogen homes, I wanted to focus on duplexes, which, that's what we do, because my experience is all in the subdivision space, doing 200, 300 lot subdivisions. And with that background, like, we're also confident in doing a fixed price contract for a duplex, and for townhouses, which is something a lot of builders really don't do.
Yeah, and I don't know, I think one of the things that, again, I've had friends, and personally I've gone through that whole building process. One of the things I get asked a lot is, when you go through that design process, you look at all these builder quotes, half of the bloody contract is all optional extras, because nothing is included in base price.
Yeah. The best one is when they say, vehicle crossing is included, but driveway isn't.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
You need your driveway to get your OC.
And not just that, they don't include porch or al frescoes, and if they do, they don't include tiling in those. It's just, you see that stuff, like you're saying, and it's amazing.
As a simple person who doesn't know much about the building industry, right?
Yeah.
And if I was a customer, I don't know much about the building industry, you walk in there and you're like, I just want a house that I can live in. Can you give me a price for that?
Exactly.
It's like, I don't want to tell you what I want to have in this house. You're the builder. You tell me what is the minimum that I need, and give me a final price.
A price that reflects that, not a sneaky little exclusion.
And back to your point, which is no driveways. How do you expect someone to live in their house without a driveway? Well, it doesn't make sense.
Ask any certifier, you can't get your OC without that, mate.
Exactly.
So I think that's one of the things, and I agree. So I think just to bring it all together, I think that's one of the main reasons we did it, is we really wanted to we really wanted to give people a turnkey solution. And I know this term gets thrown around a lot, but we really genuinely did. So if someone comes to us and says, we want to build you a house, well, our inclusions list is that, it covers everything. So you turn your key. Yes, we're a little bit more expensive than other builders, but what we offer in return is comfort, knowing that you have everything. When you walk into your house on day one, it's a completed home.
Yeah, well, I feel we're competitive as well, in terms of pricing, but we include everything, so like 40 mil stone, floor to ceiling tiles, we have driveways, we have al frescoes, so yeah.
And one of the things as well is, when my friend was going through a building process recently, there's a difference, right, between us having a predefined floor plan and a custom home. What do you think is, if we were people to ask what is the difference between a pre-designed floor plan and a custom home, how would you explain that to a regular customer? Because that's a question we get asked a lot as well. What is a custom home?
So to me, and from our experience with custom homes, if it's custom, it's everything down to the pitch on your roof, the size of the block, is just completely custom, and you're involved from start to finish in the development of the design, which takes 2 to 3 months through CDC, and probably longer through a DA. Whereas with a pre-design, you've got the floor plan, you've got a brief understanding of what it is, and we're changing a few elements to it, and we're finding designs that suit your block, and changing things in that respect.
Yeah, like I think if you're just an individual who's looking for a lot of certainty around a floor plan, that this is what you see is what you get, a pre-designed floor plan is like the way to go. That would be my option, and that would be my advice to people. You see it, this is what you get, and a lot of people can walk through, display homes and get to visualize where everything is. Whereas for a custom floor plan, it's everything is bespoke.
Yeah, you're literally starting off with nothing, right?
Yeah.
You're engaging the architect, they're coming up with the ground floor plan,
Yeah.
and that's your step one, and you're approving of that ground floor plan. If you like it, you can change anything.
Yeah, exactly.
You change everything and anything, and then you approve that, and then start on the elevations sections, and then work your way up to the first floor plan.
It's suited for people who have a really good idea of what they want in their home.
That's a good point.
Whereas with our pre-design plans, they have all the inclusions that we offer with our baseline. They still have everything. Yeah. It's just you don't have to think about what you want as much as custom homes. And
to be honest with you, it's already factoring in a lot of good design principles, those floor plans, like architects that have done it. So you don't have to think about every little thing. We've had some clients go rogue, right?
Yeah.
Wanting to change things that really the architect would say, I recommend against that.
Yeah.
It's not a good design principle, but they do it anyway, and that's what custom allows you to do.
Yeah.
But the other thing I'm starting to notice as well, and we saw that with one of our clients, which is custom home doesn't necessarily mean it's expensive, or it's very expensive and unaffordable. Like we are starting to do custom homes which are within people's budgets as well. Yep. So, we play an active role, and I think you were saying, and people have the tendency to get carried away in design. So we get involved in that design process with our customers as well and try and work within their budget.
Yeah, so to add to your point, they get carried away when they've engaged an architect and they don't have a builder's input as the design process is progressing.
100%.
As it's progressing, we can reel it in a little bit and say, hey,
we have the expertise.
Architects sometimes can get a bit carried away, and same with the owners
client.
Not knowing what the cost is going to be. Whereas, what are some of the things you've seen, Mo, that you could easily have trimmed back on one of our most recent jobs with the architect, and the client?
Yeah, I would say there's specific things, like we have these timber clad on one of our jobs in one of our jobs, and basically the client doesn't understand that if we extend the cladding all the way on the side of the house and behind, it adds a lot of cost. Yet aesthetically, we don't really need it there because you have fencing and it covers it. And that's where the builder can come in and sort of tell them, you don't need the cladding on that side because the fencing is going to cover it anyway, and you're spending an extra $5,000-$6,000 on that. But if there's just the architect and the client, you're not going to have that conversation, and they're just going to implement that anyway.
Just looks like any standard side elevation drawing. You say, oh yeah, there's some cladding there.
Exactly.
No worries. But then you don't realise you could have actually saved
money. Yeah, use
save
that money elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Because the other thing we see is a lot of the predefined floor plans, you do it over and over again, it becomes like a cookie cutter home. If you're on a street and a lot of people have gone with the same builder, you don't want the same house.
Exactly.
Going through that custom home process, you can still, let's say you had a budget of $500,000 for your construction cost, you can still do a custom home that fits in within those budgets. And like you were saying, we get involved in that design process, and rather than having that cladding, you can say, why don't you put that towards a stack stone?
And at the front of the house.
Yeah, at the front of the house.
Front elevation to differentiate it.
Bring it out, bring the facade out, so your house actually stands out in the street.
Yep.
So I really don't think people should be, scared of kind of moving away or running away from a custom home just from the stigma that it could be expensive.
No, definitely. I agree.
Yeah. And what about challenges? So, some of the common things that we see with clients, what do you guys see as some of the common challenges that we see in the building industry, especially with clients? I know for me personally, one of the things that I see is, a lot of clients coming to going to different builders and comparing and choosing a builder based on price, without actually knowing whether the two proposals that they have is actually apples for apples. They might have a proposal from a builder that, like someone like us, who includes a lot of the inclusions which are extras somewhere else. And then they try and compete on pricing. And I find that as a challenge in the industry, because everyone's looking for value for money, cheaper homes. But I think, if a customer spends a lot of time upfront actually understanding with the builder and understanding, is this going to be, we're going to be in a long-term partnership for the next 12 months. We're building this house together. is this the person that I want to be with in the next 12 months? Are they going to give me the time and day? Are they going to educate me along this building process? Because ultimately it's my house.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the challenge is it all comes down to like anyone who has experience in the industry knows there's price and there's non-price factors that you take into consideration. Well, that's like when we're choosing a new subcontractor, you're meeting the guy, you're meeting the sub, you're using him for the first time, you're taking a risk.
Yep.
So you take into consideration not just the price, you take into consideration the character, how attentive they've been, and all those good things, and how well put together their quotes are, and how transparent they are with the exclusions and inclusions. And then what on top of that, we get 2 to 3 quotes. Every mum and dad should be doing the same thing, but they should be also factoring in the non-price things like their gut feel with the person, their responsiveness, like when did you start the process, and have you, like with signing the contract, and how long has it been since you've till they break ground. We have people that have signed contracts with their builders and they haven't broken ground for 10 months.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Market shifts, like, and that's what happens with these big volume builders. It's just you're just another number. So yeah, to your point, you need to get 3 quotes, and you need to make sure you're comparing apples to apples, and you're really, really assessing the inclusions and the exclusions. And if you don't know what something is on the fine print, you better damn well find out, because some of those things are going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, or tens of thousands if you read that fine print.
And a lot of the times I feel like when you go, let's say you go to a display home or a home well type thing, most of the time you're not even talking to the builder on site who's built a house. You're talking to a sales agent.
Sales agent that knows
that knows absolutely nothing about building a site.
And then you talk about display homes.
Yeah.
All their display homes they're filled with extras. That's all it is. Everything in there is extras. It's the highest end house that they build is what they have. And a lot of people go into display homes and that's what they expect as a baseline. And then when you speak to the sales agent, as you said, inside, they'll even give you a price and they'll tell you, oh, everything's an inclusion. This ceiling, this kitchen, this tap, this sink, everything.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of transparency I think people need to look for in builders, where we can tell you exactly what's included.
Yeah.
And why it is an extra that other people don't offer.
Yeah, in my opinion, part of what they do is actually like it's misrepresentation. It actually is, and we've lost out on a few jobs because of that. Because transparently, we're saying we're an extra XYZ thousand, like we're extra 30,000, but here's why.
Yeah,
because all of this is included, and clients will go elsewhere, and by the time they've started works, it's too late.
And back to your point, you mentioned exclusions. It's not just inclusions that people need to look for, but exclusions is such a big factor, because that's what can get the price extremely high, and prices that you don't expect throughout the build. 100%. So looking at exclusions is very important, which is something that we're transparent with. And I think a lot of builders won't be transparent with. Yeah,
I mean, it just goes down to we're looking at inclusion and exclusions every day of the week when we're getting our quotes, and we're building custom homes. Some people you got to spend a lot of time, and it just takes one exclusion to cost you tens of thousands of dollars.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Like the best one I've seen is fixed site costs, which, if you know what that is, it's how much is your slab costs are fixed essentially.
Yeah.
And then you read the fine print and it says assumes 500 mil of fall, which is virtually a flat block.
Yeah.
And then most people, that's a pretty rare block in this day and age. If you get it, great, but a lot of the times it's not. And that's tens of thousands of dollars variation from on day one that they're planning to get you for.
And most clients won't look at that. They won't look at the 500 mil. They won't understand it. Or if they do, they won't question it.
And it's funny as well, because a lot of the advertised pricing doesn't include basic things like air conditioning.
Exactly.
I've been very surprised by that, because again, looking at people that have recently bought or built with other builders, a lot of the houses that they're providing is, the price is basic, but includes no air conditioning. And if you want to throw air conditioning on there, we know the prices for what it costs to put an air conditioning unit in. I've seen some quotes which are 2.5 times the market price for someone to put an air conditioning in. So it is something where you know that this is someone, everyone's going to want air conditioning.
Yeah.
And you make up your margins.
It's amazing. It's Australia. You have to have air conditioning.
Yeah.
It's very surprising that some builders don't offer air conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, us at Neogen Homes, one of the big things that we're trying to do is really revolutionise this building industry. And between us three, we've got 30 years of cumulative experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you should tell a little bit about yourself, Zane.
Yeah. So my experience, like I've got a civil engineering degree. I graduated in 2014, and worked in precast concrete for 2 years in commercial space, and then also moved to the US and worked there for 3 years on some like mixed use like mega projects. Then moved back to Australia and pretty much worked in civil engineering space, preparing your land subdivisions for like your tier 1 developers, your land comms, land leases, metro properties, and all the other types of tier 1s. And then from there, did that for 3 years, and then really just bought my own block with Roy, and we did our first duplex through CDC, and that was pretty much the preliminary stages where Neogen was created, and building our own house with Mo, leveraging his experience with like First Style Homes and Artec Homes. But yeah, that's my experience in a nutshell. And then Mo's.
Yeah, so I have a Bachelor of Construction Management, and then while I was in uni, I went into Artec. I got a job at Artec Homes. I was there for roughly around 5 to 6 years, and managed over 70 homes there. And then a natural progression from there was a big tier company, First Style Homes. They do about 500, 600 homes a year. And I had 30 to 35 jobs with them running at one time and managing from start to finish. So slab to turnkey handover. And when I was with First Style doing 30 plus home, that's when I realized, why am I stressing at this company when I can try and start my own thing? That's one of the ways that Neogen Homes started. And the experience that I had from Artec and First Style, I think, has transitioned into Neogen Homes.
Yeah, and it was crazy looking at how many projects First Style Home does with one supervisor.
Yeah.
And it really makes you kind of put that into context when we're handling limited, a lot smaller scale of projects, and that's quite intentional for us.
Which is where I realized through First Style is that I want to focus on quality more than quantity, which is what they do.
Factory,
they do quantity, and we want to focus on quality, which is
a lot different. Yeah, so look, my experience has always been in commercial construction, and I've been in that industry for the last 10 years and focusing a lot on the contracts and project management side of things. And that's given me a lot of understanding of what to do in terms of contracts. And I've seen projects go south because people don't read contracts correctly. And I've seen projects go really bad because of people not understanding the commercial implications of decisions on site. So one of the things that I want to do and bring into Neogen is making sure that the contracts and our operation sides of the business is robust. And so we can provide a lot of service and a lot of value to our customers within those boundaries as well. So if someone is thinking of building a new home, where can they find us?
We're on Instagram. We've also got a website, www.neogenhomes.com.au. You could also email sales@neogenhomes.com.au, or we've got a contact us form on our website. And yeah, you could even contact us on Instagram if you'd like and see some of the progress we've got going on some of our jobs for some inspiration.
And we upload a lot of content weekly on our Instagram page. So as Zane mentioned, we've got a lot of progress photos of our sites that you can follow us on Instagram. And if there's something in there that really excites you, or a floor plan on our website that really gets you going, or even if you're looking to build a custom home, reach out to us.